Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, I have Ayana, my close friend and collaborator, who has had her amazing weight loss transformation. And also, I've had my 30-pound weight loss transformation. I'm going to pop our pictures up here so you can see how much work we've done. And in today's episode, we're going to share some of the things that we've learned. And specifically, we decided to talk about the top, I don't know how many reasons we're going to come up with, but the top reasons why you will fail at weight loss. Hi, Ayana, thank you so much for joining me today. I know you're a little bit under the weather getting all of these bugs from the kids at school.
Yes, third time since August, but I'm all good. I'm propped up and ready to go.
That's awesome. If this is how you look when you're sick, I want to see, like, when do you ever look bad, Ayana? This is not
Oh,
fair.
I should have filmed myself 2 hours ago.
I doubt it. I doubt it. So let's see. Do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
Okay, I'll have you start and then I'll just bounce off. Let's see.
Okay. Let's get some people to click off as soon as possible off this video, and let's give them the number one reason you are not going to lose weight, and that is you're not tracking.
Yeah.
You're just not tracking. You don't even know what's going on. You're just throwing things and you get frustrated and this doesn't work and then you give up. And
Yeah,
right?
I agree with that. And then also, along with tracking, we can do two at once. I would say tracking and keeping it simple with the foods that you choose so that the tracking is more accurate and more simple for you to do. So
Yes.
sticking with similar foods, it's easy to track.
Yes. And that generally tends to be foods that aren't very addictive. Because usually, if you're very much into doing recipes, even carnivore or keto recipes, every time I see recipe in the title, just know it has a higher addictive potential than a whole food, a single ingredient food. That's why I'm not big on recipes.
Yeah, 100%. I think that is a big one because with recipes, for me, I will get on Chat GPT or something. They'll tell me the macros, like, super fast if I plug everything and tell me how much it is, the macros in 4 ounces. And they'll tell me, but still it's not 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Because, you don't know what you're scooping out of that carnivore or keto casserole or meatloaf. You know what I mean? Even if it's 4 ounces, you might get more of something than something else. So it's definitely more difficult to track, even though you can do it.
Yeah.
It's not as accurate.
Yeah. And then every time you're mixing and blending, what is the purpose of a recipe? The purpose of a recipe is to heighten the dopamine producing effects of the food you're eating, right? In other words,
Yeah.
you're heightening the addictive potential, the hedonistic value of that food. And so that's going to give you an extra challenge to regulate how much foods you're eating. So if you're tracking, you can get away with recipes. If you're not tracking, then if you're not tracking calories and you're looking up all of the carnivore recipes, you're just not going to lose weight. It's so simple. It's so easy to not be in a caloric deficit. Even if
Oh my
you're in
God.
ketosis, even if your insulin is all the way down. I've had clients, I've already talked about that, where they do the priming protocol and they gain 20, 40 pounds in an insanely short period of time. You're giving your body all this energy, even if you're not eating an iota of carbohydrate, no insulin or minimal insulin is being produced, you are still going to gain a lot of body fat. And then you're going to have to force yourself to get into that weight loss phase. And then you'll realize how frustrating it is to peel back all of that weight you gained that you intentionally put on your body, you know?
Yes, it's so true. So yeah, track. Most definitely you have to track and keep it simple, sweetie.
Number two.
So
I like that. So we have two things now.
three, I would say I know if I have any doubt whether I'm in a deficit or not, I know because I weigh myself. And if I'm the same weight, then I must be at maintenance and my tracking might be a little bit off. So I'm probably at maintenance. So I would say number three is weigh yourself. It could be every day and you take the average at the end of the week, because we can go up or down 2 or 3 pounds on a daily basis, depending on if it's extra salt that day or whatever, or that time of the month for women. But so if you weigh every day, just take the average and compare that average week by week. Or if you want to do it once a week, then you would probably want to take an average of 2 or 3 weeks of that once a week weight to really get the true number.
Yeah.
So weighing yourself is really going to tell you the
Yeah.
story too. So I think that's number 3.
I love that. A lot of people are afraid of doing that, but my motto in life, everything I've been able to accomplish, my happiness, everything is because I live by this motto. Every
Mm-hmm.
decision born out of fear is the wrong decision. And so,
Mm-hmm.
if you're trying, oh no, I can't weigh myself every day because I'm afraid that I can't handle it. I don't trust myself that I'm gonna spiral because I saw an extra pound or 2 pound weight gain, even though I've been working so hard to lose weight. And so you want to desensitize yourself. Exposure
Yes.
therapy works. That's how you build strength. That's how you build mental strength. That's how you force yourself to Google and research, why is it that I have this spike in my weight? And over time you start learning all these reasons. Maybe you haven't been
Mm.
tracking your sodium intake, or you're just eating too many, bacon and sodium rich processed foods. It's so easy to gain weight. If you've eaten an
Yes.
extra 500 calories or 1,000 calories in your usual daily intake, that also packs with it more electrolytes, more sodium, and that also means more water retention. That also means more sodium intake, which also leads to a higher weight, fasted scale weight. If you're ovulating around day, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, you should expect to see a slight elevation in your body weight.
Yeah.
If you're PMSing a few days, for some people, it's a week before they get their period. There's also a shift.
Yeah.
There's so
Yeah.
if you're very stressed out, cortisol is going
Oh,
to right, water retention.
yes. And so I really think that the next one, because we have tracking, we have keep it simple with the foods to make tracking easier, weigh yourself to really know the story, right? And don't, like Dr. Sarah said, don't trip out over one day up or down extreme. All right, take the average.
You can call me
Exercise.
Sarah. It's so weird to hear you call me
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dr. Sarah.
Well,
Just
you know what's so funny? I work for my principal that I work for is a longtime friend. And so around other people, I say Dr. Mitchell,
yeah, that's
but
nice. Yeah,
with with her, I don't. But so
right.
just we're in a platform. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, I do the same too. Like, for example, if I'm interviewing another doctor, technically, if you're a doctor, you don't call the other person by doctor. You just call them by their first name. But I also do it just out of respect. But then if they tell me no, just call me with like my first name, then I'll just continue calling them then with their first name.
I will say Sarah.
Yeah.
So I say exercise, even though diet for losing weight is key, it's the most important one. I really think that exercise, especially weight training, and there's so much more evidence pushing really weight training for fat loss as well. Even more so than cardio. Obviously, there's exceptions if you're trying to get super peeled, but
Don't
it's
let Greg
interesting.
Doucette hear you, Ayana. We don't want to be
Well, no,
roasted.
I know, but it's so interesting because I was listening to the 3 guys I listened to all the time for years. I forgot their names. Um,
Mind's pump.
yes, Mind
Yeah.
Pump. And they were talking about a study that I also listened to from someone else, this study that came out about weight training and how it is so linked to fat loss. And we've always known that, but this new information is interesting. But I have to finish reading more about it before I can really speak. But I say weight training is key because when you lose all of that weight, what are you going to have underneath? You want to have that muscle.
Oh,
I didn't add cardio into my weight loss 4 or 5 years ago until the very, very end because I was trying to get that last bit off. But the entire time, I was just doing steps and it was mostly weight training along with my deficit.
yeah. Yeah, it's like this tool that because once you add cardio, and it's highly variable for different people. But if we forget about the mental health benefits of cardio, right? Let's
Yeah.
put that
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
side. Like for me, I do my cardio no matter what in the morning because when on the days that I don't do it, my brain has a tendency to be depressed and anxious
I
and,
get you.
low motivation. This is why, I'm looking at ways to raise my baseline dopamine. So for me, I do it for that. But let's say I have a happy, healthy, great genes brain. If I have
Uh-huh.
that and I'm just wanting to lose weight, yes, I would say you're making it harder on yourself by doing the cardio too soon because you're going to adapt,
Yeah. Yes. Yes. That's the big reason for me. Yeah.
you're going to adapt. So if you start your weight loss phase doing, let's say, 1 or 2 miles every day, after a few weeks, you're not really burning the amount of calories that you thought you were burning initially. Because your body burns more at the beginning because it's shocking to it. It's like, what are you doing? It hasn't
Yeah.
built up its machinery, and all this stuff to become efficient. So over time, it adapts and it becomes more effective at running those 2 miles, which means you're not wasting or burning a lot of calories as you did initially. So now you have to do 3 miles, and then 4 miles. And then, by the end, if you have a lot of weight to lose, you're eventually what? You're going to be running half a marathon a day,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly. And I realized many years ago how adaptable I am. And that's why I usually hold off on cardio till the end. Because I'm like, dang, I'm so adapted already.
It happens so fast. Yeah, you and I are the same. We adapt
I'm
so quickly.
like,
Yes.
this sucks. So yeah, I mean, that's another reason. But plus, I mean, and I'm biased. I love weight training.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
more fun. But I
Yeah.
do like cardio, and I want to keep a good cardio base though, because
Yeah.
it's healthy. It's
Yes.
good for your heart.
Right.
So
Right. That's number
yeah,
4,
for sure.
strength training. So you're not strength training. And also what happens every time you lose weight and you're not strength training, you're gonna lose muscle. Every single time you lose 1 pound of body fat, you're gonna lose muscle. So if you have a lot of weight to lose and you're not strength training, you're losing a lot of muscle. Especially if you don't have a lot of extra body fat on you as well. That becomes more of a problem. So you're going to slow down your resting or baseline metabolism or your basal metabolism. And so this is why people, yeah, they can lose weight. That's like the easy part, but then nobody can
Yeah,
seem to be able to maintain it. And that's because they don't do the reverse diet or they haven't weight trained throughout it to prevent this metabolic adaptation, this metabolic slowdown from happening too much. And then they end up with a very slow metabolism. So either you correct the slow metabolism or you prevent the slow metabolism as much as possible from happening in the first place.
exactly. And to go back to number one, um, most of your viewers and people who follow me are either carnivore, keto, or meat based. So protein is obvious, but for those people who are maybe newer, when we say tracking, protein is the most important. And so that needs to be said. Like, you have to get your protein at optimal level.
That's number
Like,
5.
okay, we
Yes.
can do that for number
Protein.
5. Okay.
Very good. I love that. Yes.
I forgot about that. I'm like, hello, but some people who are new
True. And that's
might not.
another big deterrent for the metabolic slowdown. If you're giving your body 1.1 grams of protein per pound of ideal body weight, then you are sending a strong hormonal signal to the body to not break down muscle. And even you can put on muscle in some cases, even while you're dropping body fat.
Yeah, 100%. I'll never forget when I was a teenager, I was like 16 or 17. I went to a supplement store and I was wanting to, get some subs. And the bodybuilder who was helping me out, he was like, well, if you're going to be in a deficit, you better make sure your protein is super, super high. And that stuck with me ever since I was a teenager. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That when you're
You know,
losing,
yeah.
keep the protein high to preserve muscle.
Isn't it
Yeah. So,
wild that it clicked for you at such a young age? I had already done my bachelor's, master's degree. I already done my internship and became a licensed dietitian, like a whole year of interning in a hospital and then sitting for the board exams. And I had already started my Ph.D. in exercise physiology. My first year of the exercise physiology doctoral program, the this classmate of mine, he was also like first year, first semester. So we kind of like bonded over that because it was so overwhelming. Everything was so new. So we'd hang out a lot. And he was like, oh, just like protein is the single most important thing. That's when it clicked for me. Can you imagine a
Wow.
licensed dietitian. I'm teaching nutrition at that point in my first semester, nutrition professor. It hadn't really clicked how critically important protein intake was
I
and to
know.
prioritize that.
And I know that people like to poo-poo bodybuilders, like, but I have learned the most in
They
my
know
years.
way more. Yeah, because people who are actually doing the thing actually know
Yeah,
more than people who are reading from a book, but you look at them and they're like, do you even go to the gym? Do you
yeah,
like it's so different. And for me, I prioritize people who are doing the thing. I think in
yeah.
real life, what's working, that's far more powerful, far more true than the people that are reading from a book, and
Yes,
doing
exactly.
out. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what
What
about sleep?
Why do you think
Oh,
people are yeah, but why do you think people poo-pooing or like to talk down about
bodybuilders?
others?
I just hear sometimes like they just dismiss sometimes. Um, Not so much anymore because I think people are realizing how important muscle is and protein to preserve that muscle along with weight training. That but I have heard many times like, oh, they just take this or that, some PED. And I'm like, listen, I've known people who've taken PEDs and did nothing with it. Their diet was horrible and they didn't use that energy in the gym to lift heavy weights. So they just wasted those PEDs.
Yes.
I don't care what you take,
Yeah.
you have to put in the work
Yeah.
of building muscle
Yes.
and having your diet on point. Not one bodybuilder who is successful does not have their diet on point and is not in the gym killing it.
Right.
So, yeah, does the PED help if they're, going to be on stage? Sure,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not that alone. And
Right.
I think they just dismiss them because they're like, oh, they're taking this and whatever.
You know what it is? It's like it's not that I refuse to take responsibility for my life. It's because they are cheating and they're just see, because any person who's even attempted to take something and or tried to improve their health and their fitness, they would
Yeah,
know how much how much real benefit you're going to get from any kind of supplement. Like it's
yeah,
not that much, but it can be very helpful when you need that extra 1%. Like if you're really taking your health and fitness to the next level, that every 1% increment is going to be helpful, but
yeah,
99% of it is mindset. 0.5% of it is the exercise and the diet, and the other 0.5% is
yeah.
the supplements and the PED
Yeah,
or whatever.
100% agree with that.
Yeah,
100%. Because,
right?
yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
It's just people, I get that. I've been in that victim mindset. I've been in those situations where I refused to take responsibility, and it was easier to be a victim, and it was easier to say, why me? It's just too hard for me. Look at all these people who have it so much easier. I've been in that place. I will never, ever allow myself to go back to that dark, horrible, mental space.
And I'm glad that you asked me that to clarify that because before we talk about sleep, um I see it in other realms as well.
Hmm.
And I hate to be a truth teller sometimes because I don't want to hurt people's feelings.
Right.
But I have friends who are like, "Oh, well, I'm just getting older, so of course this and this and this." And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
that's not the reason.
Yeah.
You're
I
not supposed to just gain 50 pounds because you're in your 40s. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, well, she's had 3 kids. I mean, no, I've had 3 kids, so I can't do that. I'm like, for every person that says that, I can show you someone who's had that and more and looks
right.
fantastic. So
Right.
I think it bleeds into other areas too.
Right.
And I'm like,
No, no, no. Those are just excuses. It's just things they say to save face. And when you're in
yeah,
an office with somebody, that's why for me, another reason why it's so critically important for me to be my own boss is, and I know I always am ragging on you on that, but let's
I
not
know,
let's
I
not open
know,
that can of worms. But like for me, I
I know.
because then I'm forced to like play that game, it's like, oh yeah, oh it's okay, because what, you're gonna like butt heads with your coworkers 24/7. It's like, no, You know, you need to take responsibility. Let me show you all these people that have done this and so much more. You know, I just interviewed, I was just telling you, right? Sierra Martinez at Keto Goddess
Yes.
Mama, 3 kids, full-time job, and she's winning shows. And she had fat kid genetics, depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, like everything.
That is why I love her so much, because she's had 3 kids. And then sometimes I look at a person who's had 3+ kids or whatever, and I look at their before pictures and they were like skinny fat. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. No, Sierra, she was obese.
Yes, yes, yes. And worse than that, also the mental health aspect, because sometimes you can see before pictures of people who have fat kid genetics, but their baseline dopamine is elevated. If your baseline dopamine is elevated, you have a very high pain threshold, which means you don't care about the cravings. You know, you can just push through, you just change your habits. It's like, oh, it's easy. You just stopped eating this. It's like, oh wow, how easy. You know?
Right, right, right.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
I
Wow.
will, if hopefully I remember to link the third interview, because I've interviewed her twice already, and the third interview is gonna
Yeah.
about to drop. I'm sure it's gonna drop before this interview goes live, so I'll try to remember to post it so people can also
Yes.
watch it. Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm
yeah,
excited for
yeah.
that one. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. That's as you get more successful in any area of your life, and whether it's fitness or business or relationship or all of the above, ideally it becomes harder because you kind of have to dim your light and and you kind of have to
Yeah.
like go along and and it's so hard to do that, you know?
It's so hard. And you know what? Yeah, that's just something that I'm so against. Like I hate it. Like, when I see
I know.
that, and I've been a victim of it. I've dimmed my light before in the past. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. I break out of that kind of thinking because just my innate personality won't allow it for too long. Um, and I also have a great partner who's like, no, do you know what I mean? Don't stop this or that because of what someone is saying or whatever,
Right.
so
Right.
but
Yeah, it's so easy. And there's so much more pressure on women, especially, um, to to kind of make ourselves smaller in every way, even in the way that we sit. You know, we have to cross our legs, whereas men they take up 3 seats, right and left with their legs open. It's like, why?
it's so funny you said that. Oh my God, just as that's a random thing I just never thought about.
Oh yes, I think about these things a lot. Anyway,
That is so funny. Okay.
okay, we've got 5. You said number 6 is sleep.
Yes. Yeah, I think we're on, yeah, sleep. Sleep. I think that, and I poo-pooed that um uh when I was younger. And I
Oh,
think that I realize as I'm getting older how imperative it is. But again, let's go back to the bodybuilders. They would preach sleep to grow all the time because, in their way of explaining it, their unsophisticated way of explaining it, they were most likely talking about cortisol. And how that can be elevated. It can prevent you from losing, getting shredded because your body is protecting itself. So you usually retain more water, blah, blah, blah. So there's like sleep to grow. But it's also mental, all the above. Sleep is so
yeah.
important.
Yeah, I remember when I would be teaching at university in Miami and also at Miami-Dade College nutrition courses, I had a section where we would go over this very important paper on this specific topic that we're talking about. And in it, they show how lack of sleep was shown to increase addictive food cravings and consumption by 50% the next day just because you didn't get enough sleep. Yes, and then ghrelin levels are up by around 30%. Ghrelin is your hunger hormone, so you're 30% hungrier. And leptin levels are lower by around, if I remember correctly, like 27 or 28% lower leptin. Leptin makes you feel satiated. So now the hormones that make you feel satiated are lower. The hunger hormone is higher. And specifically, your craving and consumption of addictive foods or junk food is up by 50% the next day. Yeah.
Wow. That is really interesting. And we can't ignore, and I know people don't like that word, but we can ignore addiction or addictive food. So even if it's like you want to paint it as your coping mechanism is to reach for those highly palatable foods, whether you're for emotional reasons, whether you're stressed, bored, upset, whatever it might be, you know, understanding that your coping mechanism and fixing that. So knowing thyself. So that could be number 7. Like really knowing thyself and how do you cope with stress? Do you reach for those addictive foods? Because shoot, they're made for you to do that.
I love that. Yes. Number 7, being focused on the addictive potential of the food. Forget about all the different types of diets you could be doing.
Yeah.
I think for all of them, if you are oblivious to how addictive foods can be,
Mhm.
you're just driving with the brakes on. It's just
Yeah.
infinitely harder then.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, yes.
Yeah.
It is so true. It is. It is like
Right. Even
sometimes
Mhm.
people with scarcity mindset, sorry, sometimes people with that scarcity mindset too, or all or nothing thinking, I have fallen into that trap. It can be
Ooh,
dangerous too.
that's number 8. Yeah. So number
Okay.
7 is being, yes, I love that. Number
Okay.
7, addictive potential of foods. So, and then number 8 um, is the all or nothing. It's like
Yeah.
either I am this carnivore who believes like a religion as if meat is, the only food and nothing else could potentially help you reach your goals,
Wow.
or I'm off the rails completely and I just freak out at the notion of maybe including anything else for some other reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So that's why, like, if we had umbrellas for everything we've spoken about so far, the technical stuff is in there that you have to do day in and day out, but the mindset is so huge because a
Right.
lot of those things fit under mindset
Yes.
and purpose over pleasure.
I was gonna ask you about
Just
that.
realized I was like, well, purpose over my former coach and friend now, way before you, he makes these shirts. Scotty Does It Fit, I think. So Scott Kramer. Yeah, he
Yes.
made this and he gave it
He's
to me.
he's the blonde guy with a
Yes.
ponytail. Yeah, you've sent me a bunch of his reels. Yeah, it's got
Yeah.
really good content. I like that.
Yes. Yes. He looks like Thor or whatever, those Nordic people.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, it's true. And it's like this takes a mindset shift and how you talk to yourself. You know what I mean? Because okay, I gotta share this. I posted in Instagram, you know how you can leave a note in the message section?
Yeah.
And I was like, sick again, like, huh, right? And then he responded to me and he goes, you're not sick, you're fighting an illness. Do this and this and this and this. So it's like he's all about that too. Like, okay, don't say you're sick. In other words, it's like, okay, you're fighting an illness. So what are you doing about it? And I'm like, I know what you're
Mm,
getting at.
I
But
love
it's
that.
so
The
funny. Yeah.
mindset. So that's number
Mindset.
9. That's number 9. Yes. Are you working on your mindset? I feel like, I have this guide, Monster Mindset, right? It's all about mindset. And I feel like I always
Uh-huh.
have to promote it even harder for people to get it as opposed to dopamine brain. Because people get, oh, dopamine brain, it's like it's more practical, it's the exercise components, all the things I can do to raise my baseline dopamine, but they don't
Yeah.
get how monster mindset can actually be even more powerful because it's
Yeah.
it's like even if I give you the brain rehab protocol, you have to
Right.
do it. And how are you going to do it? All the work really ends up being with the mindset piece.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Yeah.
It's so important.
I
Mindset is everything.
and there's so much that go because we can just say mindset, but like what does it mean? And we can do a whole other interview just on that because I can talk for hours on mindset, but we're not going to do
Yeah,
that in this video, right?
we should because
Yes.
ultimately that's what it comes down to because there's so many groups in our community that deal with addiction or, like a community feel. So I do understand community definitely helps. Like I
Yeah.
get that
Yeah.
with training your mindset and creating that discipline. But to create that mindset and to develop that discipline, it takes action. So really having, as Andy Frisella says, those critical tasks that
Mm,
you
the power list.
execute every day to
Yes.
build that discipline. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes,
It's like
we've
really
talked
important.
about the power list before, so we're not gonna go over it again, but that is very powerful,
Yeah.
100%, because those are like the top 5 tasks that you're focused on right now for at least 21
Yes.
days, ideally 66 days, because that's the number
Hmm.
of days it takes on average to establish a habit, which means now you don't have to expend your dopamine and your discipline and burn through that to do those habits anymore. They go into the basal ganglia part of your brain where it becomes automatic, like brushing my teeth. Brushing my teeth is in my basal ganglia. I'm not really struggling with it every morning or every night.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. So what is 10? Do we want to do steps, goal setting? What is more important? Like,
Why are you never going to reach your goal weight? I say limiting beliefs and being too quote
mm,
unquote
safe
realistic.
with your goals? Oh, too realistic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
I fall into that category. I'm so realistic sometimes to a fault that I'm like,
right.
yeah, well,
And
this and this and this. And I'm like, well, I'm
here's
exactly that person.
here's my take on that. What is reality? They've done a study where they told a group of people that your willpower, your discipline dwindles by the end of the day, and you're going to have less willpower by the end of the day. And they told another group of people that your discipline, your willpower store, that part of your brain, isn't really going to get fatigued. It doesn't matter. You can't use that up. And then they gave them tasks to test their level of discipline and willpower. The people who were fed the suggestion that, oh, by an authority figure, like a researcher, that, there is data to suggest that you are going to lose and lose more of your willpower as the day goes on. They acted in accordance with that belief. They
Yeah.
actually showed decreases in their willpower, in their discipline, in their ability to self regulate by the end of the day as compared to the other group who outperformed them. It just goes to show you,
Interesting.
like, it starts in what you believe, and your beliefs can create that reality. So if 99% of the population believes that it's just so hard to be in shape at 50 or at 60, just because it's a common belief does not mean that it's the right belief,
Oh yeah,
right?
100%. Believe me. And that goes in so many different areas of life because at my work, we're reading the lead team. Um,
The
all of
what?
us are reading lead team,
Oh,
so the
leadership.
leaders,
Gotcha.
right?
Yes.
We're reading a book called Collective Teacher Efficacy, and it goes into a lot of the belief of like, okay, we're all on the same page, and we know this can happen because number one, we believe it will happen. We have high expectations, and now we have to execute that. And so it's so transformative, like your belief in it, and then if you have a high belief in it, then your actions will reflect that more than if you had a lower belief that'll happen. So it's very interesting what you just said. It can be
Yes.
transferred.
And that's what we call reality. It's the collective beliefs of the people around us. But just because so many people believe in one thing and they act in accordance in that, and so now when you study them, the results of those scientific studies show that result, that becomes the reality. Doesn't mean that we should have that same reality. We can create our own reality. And
Yeah.
there's a little bit of a leap of faith sometimes that you got to take to believe,
Yeah.
to say, this is my new belief, and I'm
Yeah.
going to act in accordance with that. And then it becomes easier and to strengthen that belief once you start seeing the results of that belief.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you know what I
Exactly.
mean? And then that becomes, it's like the 4 minute mile. But
Oh yeah.
by Dr. Roger Bannister, he was a neurologist, right? And in the 1900s, it was thought that no human being can run a mile in under 4 minutes. Doctors cautioned us that, you know, you would have a heart attack, you would explode. It's just like the human body is incapable. Like there was this limiting belief. That was the reality of people. Like people believed in that reality that we probably can't do it. But Dr. Roger Bannister chose a different belief. So he didn't have anything to go off of outside of him choosing that belief. So he took a slight leap of faith there and decided that I'm gonna break that limiting belief. But he visualized
Yeah.
and he trained and he was able to break that limiting belief. So the crazier part is that within 6 weeks of him breaking that record, so many more people broke that record within the 6th week
Wow.
after that shift. So it's not like they were training for years, just like he was training and visualizing to do it because there was that limiting belief. It's just they saw that it could be done and their belief immediately changed and the limiting
Yeah.
belief went away. And now they created this new, and now we have a new reality that humanity enjoys, which is, yeah, we are, we're not limited by the 4-minute mile.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. I love
Right?
that. But it's true. I really believe it's true. I
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
I do.
And, you know, I'm
So
not saying
that's
like, oh, I want, like, I will live forever. I'm gonna choose that, like, that leap of faith and just believe that I'm gonna, like, it doesn't, like, I have to actually take actionable steps. I have to fund the studies to speed up the rate of research, to speed up the rate of progress in anti-aging research, right? I have to do that stuff. I have to visualize. But at the end of the day, it's like, it started with a mindset shift. It started with me
yeah.
rejecting the notion that I have to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
That's interesting. That's so cool. I love
Yeah.
it. So that's 10.
Woohoo! I think we're good, right? This is a good one.
Yeah.
10
Yes. That was
reasons
good.
why you will never lose weight. So, and that means if you flip them on the other hand, like all of the 10 reasons, that means that you can now lose weight if you take action on every single step
Yeah,
we just outlined. That's a good one. We
exactly.
should probably do round two. I feel like there's so much more we can talk about.
There's so much more, especially with discipline and everything. So, but you're getting into fasting research, so I'm curious about that. But
We have to do
we
a
could,
fasting one. Yes, I want to write a guide
yes,
on that. I will extended fast and all that kind of
yes.
stuff. Yes.
Because I like to eat. So the thought of fasting kind of turns me off, but I'm interested to hear more because I am actually going to be doing a sardine fast starting today.
Yes.
And so just because I'm curious and I'm like, I know that I dogged it on previous reels, but but
It's
hey,
we
I'm curious. I'm
evolve.
like, yeah, we can change our
Yes.
minds. So I'm gonna
Yes.
see what the hoopla
Yes.
is about.
I love to see the growth and the evolution in people, including myself, because
Yeah.
that tells me the rate at which you're progressing and growing and learning new things and experimenting with new things is really fast. People who change a lot, that means they're putting a lot of pressure on themselves to grow faster, to learn faster,
Yes.
to implement things faster and see the results and then, change the plan according to that. And so like I'm very wary of people who will stick to one belief and just defend it no matter what. And it's like, are you even learning any new things every day, or are you just like stuck
Yeah.
in that little box?
Yeah, and I agree because the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to learn more about myself. I want to really tap into my hunger cues. I
Mhm.
want to see if it helps with inflammation. I mean, there's things that I am doing it for a purpose.
Yeah,
That's why. Because
yeah.
I'm like, ooh, let me like do a reset. Let me just see. That's why,
I love that.
you
Maybe we'll
know.
do, we still have some time. Maybe we'll stop this video and then we'll do a quick a sardine fast mini chat and do that as a different YouTube video. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll
All
see.
right.
But for now, I hope this was helpful, everybody. Ayana, thank you again so much for
Yes.
soldiering through your illness and showing up for everybody. Can you share where people can find you, work with you, connect with you?
Yes, most definitely. So I am at Pilar Fit Vegas on Instagram and YouTube, and TikTok, which I need to post more on, is at Pilar Fit LV. And so find me there, and also my YouTube. I'm neglecting it, and I need to.
Yes.
Maybe I'll post about the sardine fast on my YouTube. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
There
Maybe
you
I
go.
should give you the copies of these videos. You can post them as well on your channel, you know?
Yes, that's a good idea too, actually. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I've been so busy being busy and sick. So yeah,
There you go.
let's do.
Yes. And
Oh,
for everybody who wants more information on how to raise your baseline dopamine levels, Monster Mindset Guide plus the Dopamine Brain Guide, they both work so well together. And actually, they're the same price. Don't get just one, just get the bundle because it's the same price as getting one. It's on my website, drsarahzaldivar.com/shop. For coaching, drsarahzaldivar.com/coaching. And I have a lot of other guides, Dopamine Body for the weight loss strategy that I use with my one-on-one clients, that I implement on myself as well, that helped me lose those 30 pounds and be able to maintain it for so long. The reverse dieting guide on how to speed up the metabolism is called SUPERBREED Metabolism. I have an acne guide. I have a lot of guides. And the
I have a
supplement
lot.
guide.
Carnivore challenge, like unless
Oh,
you mentioned
thank
that
you
one
for
already.
reminding me.
Oh,
Yes, you can get the Carnivore Challenge Guide. It's 100 and close to 150 pages that guides you through how to do a carnivore diet, and especially the part where it guides you like a step-by-step process of what you should be expecting as you're making that transition from a highly addictive, maybe a high carb diet to carnivore, because you don't want to shock
mhm.
your system. A lot of people can throw in the towel too soon when all if they
Yeah.
just knew the tools and techniques that we've learned over the years, they can really increase their chances of success. So you can get that for free if you sign up to my newsletter. I will make sure I post a link. I post that link under every YouTube video, or you just click on it, sign up to my newsletter, and I will send you the guide within 24. So if you sign up within 24 hours of this YouTube video going live, then I will email you the guide within 24 hours as well. So yeah, I think that
All
wraps it up.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you, Ayana. Again, thank you everybody for watching till the end. If you enjoyed this kind of content or you have ideas of things that we could be talking about, let us know in the comment section
Yeah.
below. Go follow Ayana. She has fantastic content, and I love you so much. So thank you for
Love you too.
and thank you, everybody. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell icon so YouTube alerts you every time I post a new video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.